My question is, from based upon your prior experience with other Gears of War in comparison to EDay, where do you stand in regards to that?
So, my background as far as Gears of War multiplayer goes back mostly to Gears of War 2, which I'm the most familiar with. Everything afterwards pretty much followed a very similar format to what Gears 3 did. As far as Gears E-Day, very different as far as the multiplayer. It felt very different. I like the Lancer in EDay because it does have some stopping power.
Which version of the Lancer? The prototype Lancer or the Lancer Mark 1?
The prototype Lancer.
Oh, okay.
So the Lancer Mark 1 is strong as all hell, but the prototype Lancer, I think it's in a good place because of the stopping power. And seeing as the game is a team-based game, if you got two people that are shooting at you with the Lancer, that person is going down in a matter of seconds for sure. And so playing the range game is beneficial, and people miss out on that a lot because Gears has been, and not even necessarily by balance, but more by the community, has been homogenized into a Nasher fest.
Yeah, that's one thing I noticed too. For something, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but that's something I noticed too. Because I'm like, when I see these videos of high-level multiplayer, it just seems like everybody's just shooting at each other with a shotgun and moving very spastically. Like from a person who's outside looking at that, it looks very jarring to see that. And I'm like, I'll be honest, it's a bit of a turn off when to get into multiplayer if I have to emulate this behavior in order to have a good time in this game.
Yeah. The gameplay feels a little bit more dynamic because there's a little bit more verticality now. Because now you can climb on top of things, you can move up and down a little bit more without there being like a static representation of you can only get to this path by this, by going up here. It feels less just static, and it feels a little bit more dynamic to the gameplay now that you can climb on top of stuff, you can jump, and things like that. So with the community now, I think that that's going to become a larger thing because of the way that it looks like the way that they're balancing Gears isn't just straight up, oh hey, just use the Nasher all day and smoke people. Mm-hmm. Now that being said, you still can if you want to, but you're going to have to work a little harder for it.
What you're saying is even though what might be the face of multiplayer is people running around trying to shoot each other with a shotgun, what you're saying is that there's also viability utilizing the other weapons and coming up with your own play style revolving around that. Yeah,
for sure. Now, me, I'm one of those people that I'm pretty much like a Nasher hoe. That's my thing.
Dirty Nasher whore.
Exactly. I'm a Nasher whore. 100%. Okay. Having the Lancer with stopping power, it's a really good way to give some pushback to the fact that you might get chunked if they get closer. So you're giving them a little bit of like pushback. If you gun them down right then and there, they're going to have to rethink what they do next time.
Are you saying that the Lancer has more stopping power than previous Gears, or this one in particular has the same amount as before?
So this one seems like it has a little bit more stopping power than we've seen before in Gears. It feels like I can control the spacing a bit more than I've ever been able to, but yeah, I think it's good.
So have you ever seen where if people are, let's say if there's 3 squad members pointing at one person with the Lancer, have you literally see that opponent basically go to a standstill because you're getting shot with the Lancer from different angles?
Not necessarily. My assumption with a scenario like that is it's not going to stack how much it slows them down. Mm-hmm. Something like that should be happening more commonly, I'll tell you that much, because like I said, it's a team-based game, and if everyone is just pulling out Nashers, all you're asking for is, hey, come into the objective and potentially whoop my ass. Mm. If you're able to give them a little bit of pushback to think about what they're doing, then you can definitely make more plays. You can make things happen a lot more. I like that they're experimenting with different types of movement as well. You got the jump mechanic, you have the slide mechanic now too. It's a cool thing that they added to it. It makes the gameplay feel a little bit more fresh compared to what we've already had.
So much time and energy and resources were made into making this game, and also getting the movement down pat so that it feels like you are a soldier of war, only for the community subvert that by breaking the game's movement mechanics where everybody looks like a low budget animation reel.
Wall bouncing is still very much alive. This, it's more like it feels more like you're working around a system in order to execute the same thing.
Right. Is that the way that the game recognizes you shooting. Apparently, it's coming from the middle of the screen, not from the gun. Because when I was using the boom shot, I had the reticular above the cover. Like it looks like that on my screen. I still saw a red X that indicates that you are about to hit the wall. And unfortunately, I didn't see that until I pulled the trigger and I got blown up.
So I could get myself out of the wall, but then he's closer to the wall.
Oh my God, really? So, can you clarify why that is even in the game, and was that even there before?
Yes, actually, this was in previous Gears of War. So this is center screenshot. I hate that shit. The other thing it ended up introducing is backpacking, and I don't want to even say introducing, because backpacking was a thing that happened back in Gears of War 1, and people thought that it was a bug. So now we have it back, and it's a fucking feature.
It's like, what unintended consequences of being programmed into the game. Is similar to doing combos in Street Fighter, because that wasn't the developer's initial intention when that game was made.
Yeah, exactly. And now they've put it back into the game, knowing what it would do, because this thing has been around since the first Gears of War, which was what, back in 2006.
Yeah,
I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. I think they should revert and go back to, it should shoot from the barrel. The center screenshot is shooting from the camera. When I was doing certain movements and, you know, pointing and shooting, it felt really consistent. I didn't like it.
Gotcha. I want to move over to the next phase, and that's just simply just talk about what you loved about the multiplayer experience.
Verticality of the game. Now you get a little bit more dynamic gameplay because of it being more vertical.
Okay.
Being able to jump. One thing I will say is that it did take me a second to get used to the fact that you're able to climb, because when I first saw someone climb, I didn't register how fast you climb up. Now you look at the animation, it looks slow, but the recovery was faster than I thought. So I ended up getting killed by somebody because I knew they were going to jump up, but I was trying to give myself a little bit of distance to make them think that I wasn't going to do anything. And they climbed up right when I was about to shoot, and they ended up shooting me first. I'm like, holy shit, you recovered pretty quickly from climbing up just there. I didn't think that they would recover that fast.
Now, I know you touched up about the center framing shots. That's something you dislike about the game. Is there anything else about the game that you wish to see them improve upon for multiplayer when the game comes out?
Yes, I got two more things. The sliding, while it's cool, it made the Gnasher feel more consistent in a weird way. It seemed like I was able to get a lot more consistent chunk kills while I was sliding. Now, as far as sliding, like I said, it felt way more consistent than if I'm just regularly shooting or something like that. They did remove chainsaw battles.
There were some things I noticed they removed too. They removed grenade planting. You can't grenade plant anymore. You can't do, well, if someone's in cover, you can't knock them out of cover. You can't do that no more. I guess that was replaced with jumping over the cover. You can actually jump over the cover now manually.
Or the chainsaw battles are a staple, right? Now, using the chainsaw, you can use it as an offensive mechanic, but for me, the way I've always used it is as a defensive mechanic.
Also, there's no meat shields neither.
That too. There's no meat shields either. Seems like the direction that they're taking pretty much all multiplayer games is less defensive mechanics and more offensive ones. Everyone was just in each other's ass, pause, but that's how it was. But having the meat shield, like you said, I think the chainsaw battles definitely played a part of the grenade tagging. That was another big part of defense in Gears. You tag the grenade, somebody walked by that son of a bitch, they going boom boom.
Or if you want to assert dominance, you just roll up behind somebody and plant them and go about your merry way.
Exactly. You showed them, yo, I'm daddy.
Remember in Gears of War 2 where you down somebody, if they piss you off one time, you purposely take the grenade and plant them and then run away. Run away.
For sure. Yup, just to spite their ass.
See, it's those little key things that makes Gears of War such a memorable thing. And for it to not be in there, I'm like, why?
This is going to be a not Gears of War necessarily oriented thing that I'm gonna say, but gaming forgot the fun. Gaming forgot the fun. So video games, I feel like now have forgotten that fun part for the more visually entertaining parts, where it's like you're constantly just in the game. Because, like, let's keep it a buck. And naturally formed, one of the biggest etiquettes in gaming was the teabag.
It's an automated Technically allow me to redirect the cannons to
Gears of War crowding around whoever was the last man down and like, you know, just beating on him, beating his ass. Everybody sitting around just watching, shotgunning him, shooting him, you know, just shit like that. It just feels like this is what the etiquette of Gears is. I'm hoping that they have a lot more executions in the game too. They only showed off a couple of them, but I'm hoping to see some like real egregious shit.
I will say that melee feels better in this version of Gears of War, because what the thing that I enjoyed the most is utilizing the melee for the breach shot. Which I thought was fun, but once you go up the levels, obviously you can't one shot them, but you can do a combination of shoot and melee, which I thought was pretty efficient with taking enemies out relatively quickly.
I didn't really get to use the melee as much in multiplayer, just because everything was so hectic. And I was so much more, I'm not gonna lie, like during the whole time of me playing the beta using in multiplayer, I felt more concerned about why the fuck are my shots not hitting? Like once in a while I would do it, but it was like on some like, hey, I've already, you know, got you damaged enough. Let me see if I could just knock you out since you're close to me.
Do you have any closing thoughts regarding your experience with Gears of War in multiplayer?
Closing thoughts. I think if you've been turned off by Gears of War in the past, this multiplayer experience might be a little bit more up your alley, or at least I think people will be more willing to give it a chance, since there's not as much like deliberately egregious like mechanic focused movements. So if the Coalition plays their cards right this time, then I think that they could actually bring in a newer audience instead of the same people that have already been playing the game. But I feel like this game it's not catering towards new players, but because there's still going to be, you know, if you're really good at a Gears of War game, you're going to whoop some ass still. I think it's going to open up, you know, their eyes to see, hey, maybe this one's a little bit more different, and they'll give it a chance.
Yeah, I agree with your sentiment regarding that, because I do believe that this version of Gears has the potential to be the best Gears ever.
For sure. And another thing too, while this is a multiplayer discussion, I'm gonna quickly say this is probably going to be the best fucking Horde that Gears ever released. I like the Horde. I like the Horde a lot. I like the Horde Seige. I like that shit.
Yeah. Horde Seige is something very special. Very special.
Yeah, that shit's fun.
Yes. All right, good sir. Thank you for your time and your thoughts. And I'll see you on the next one.
For sure.
Peace.